Welcome, everyone. I'm your pastor, J.P. Bohannon, and this is
Sherry Klein.
And Sherry is our lay member of annual conference. Sherry is also our vice chair of our council and our lay leader, which is our kind of our prayerful person on council and leads us in prayer. We're here to share a little bit about what happened and what we experienced at this sessions of annual conference of the Susquehanna Conference, which took place at the end of May. Over 3 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then there was a special session on Wednesday night. You may be familiar with the fact that churches have been disaffiliating from the United Methodist Church around questions on human sexuality and same-sex marriage. In our annual conference, 114 churches disaffiliated this year, which is still, it's a large number. We still have very, very many more churches in our annual conference. We had over 800 churches to start with. So we still are a fairly sizable conference. But that's a hard and painful thing to do together. That was our special session on Wednesday night. And then there was the regular sessions Thursday, Friday, Saturday, celebrating ministry and retirements and doing our routine business things, which included the budget, which, by the way, your very own pastor is the chair and president of the Conference Council on Finance and Administration. And for my presentation, which was Saturday morning, I wore the best outfit that was on the stage in the entire annual conference, if I say so myself, and I do. And we adopted a budget for the annual conference, taking in mind the loss of revenue that we were expecting through disaffiliation. Our budget for 2024 is $2.5 million less than the year prior, which is more of a decrease than the loss of revenue expected from the disaffiliating churches. And by the way, the churches that are disaffiliating are still paying ahead for 2024 their share of ministry. That's part of the departure process. So the conference is in a good place financially, despite all of this upheaval and turmoil, and we're doing some proactive things there which are pretty helpful. So there's business, but there's also just the personal experiences that are part of it. Sherry, say a little bit about that for you.
Sure. This is the second time that I had the privilege to go to annual conference. It was a little different because of special sessions adding an extra day. And to talk about special session, it was anticipated that this could have been a hostile evening. Yes, several churches voted to disaffiliate. And though that happened, conference still has to vote to accept their disaffiliation or deny it. They were all accepted. There was no fighting. There was no hostility. There was love. I was amazed at how the brothers and sisters of Jesus Christ loved each other. There were hugs. There were tears. There was sadness. But you could feel God's presence and the peace that we should have for one another. It was very difficult, very emotional. But it was amazing to witness such a difficult, hard event actually becoming a beautiful event. So that was rough. That was very rough.
I do want to mention as well, we had one other member of our congregation that was a member of conference this year. That was Kira Fenwick,
Yes.
A young adult. And so if you want to speak with Kira about her experience, please feel free to do so. I know on that Wednesday night when we did the disaffiliation votes, I'm so glad I was able to greet my friend Ryan. He's a pastor whose church disaffiliated and who's leaving to serve that church. And we just love each other and have shared a good bit in common over the last 10 years where our paths have routinely crossed in ministry. And we know that it is this church, the United Methodist Church, that brought us together, and that him leaving the United Methodist Church meant that our paths may not cross. And we both acknowledge that's just the way things are, but it's also sad when you really have affection and respect for one another. So I'm glad he saw me and caught me, and we were able to have that hug. That means a lot to me. I'm very grateful for that.
Closure.
Well, and maybe our paths will cross again. It would be nice if they did, from my perspective. Yeah. Say a little bit more.
Okay. Something new for me at conference this year, because it wasn't held last year. It's celebration of One Matters Awards. This award is given to churches that met a specific criteria, whether, on purpose or not, they met this criteria. And for example, in discipleship, their discipleship increased. Say there was a church that went from 0 baptisms in a year to 5 in a year, and some had more even. An increase in hospitality, or developing a hospitality that their church could have for people. One church started serving meals, and I believe it was at least once a week. They set it up in their hall.
Free meals for the community.
Free meals for the community. Outreach. There was a church that the children of the church would make cards, and they would be sent to nursing home facilities, as well as socks that were given to homeless people, because I guess that is a big need, is socks for those that are unfortunately homeless. Beautiful to witness. Beautiful to witness. The theme was constant, new and improved through Christ. And I guess when you're working towards loving others, different outreaches, or bringing in, discipleship will happen and will occur. And before you know it, we as a church, or you as an individual, become new and improved through Christ.
Sometimes, I'll restart. So a lot of those churches that were recognized in the One Matters Awards were smaller churches or mid-sized churches that maybe had been in decline, and not just had no baptisms the year before, but maybe no baptisms for 3 or 4 years. No new people coming in. And if you're a church of 30 and you get 6 new people in 1 year, that is huge. That's 20% growth rate in 1 year. Now, if you're a church of 100 and you get 6 new people, that's great too. That's only 6% growth rate. And in some ways, smaller organizations and smaller churches can grow faster and reach more people proportionately if they do these kinds of basic things: hospitality and mission and discipleship and welcoming people and inviting children in and doing vacation Bible school and then actually asking those families to show up. All those kinds of things make a huge difference.
And that was another thing, a church that may not have had children or youth, an influx of children or